Hey guys, this is Stinger from the Ghost Squadron Airsoft team, and today I'm just going to show you a basic disassembly for an AR-15 platform of airsoft gun, such as an M4 or M16, and this could also apply to some other styles of guns that are along the same lines. This does not necessarily apply to all M4s, all M16s, or all other AR-15s, because there are a lot of different variances between them, especially if you're using a G&G or something that uses a blowback system, because there's a lot of differences in the basic disassembly of it. And for this video, it's just going to be basic disassembly, show you how to basically split the upper receiver from the lower receiver and access the hop-up unit and inner barrel, as well as the top of the gearbox. Like I said, there may be some differences between the way I do it for this specific gun, but for the most part, most M4s and M16s are relatively similar for this part of the video. This is a version 2 gearbox M4, and this specific model is my custom M4. This is the one that I personally use as my primary. The base gun is an Airsoft G.I FMG4-A1 Hard Next-Gen. And it of course has the Noveski 10-inch rail on it, made by Mad Bull. And I have some of my own attachments on it, which is just what I use when I'm using it. So anyways, let's get into it. If you do use attachments on your gun, like I'm sure most of you probably do, then it can help to take them off. You don't necessarily have to unless they get in the way, but lots of times they can just make it more bulky, and it can be good to just take them off, so that they don't get damaged in case something happens, and so that they don't get in the way of you working on it. I'm going to leave the sight riser on it because that basically just blends right in with the rest of the rail. Another thing you're going to need is a hammer punch tool, and if you are opening up the gearbox, you're going to want to wear eye protection. I'm not going to show that in this video, but you're going to want to wear eye protection just because in the gearbox there's a lot of springs and other things under high tension that could bounce out and hit you in the eye, and that would be bad. And then for taking apart the rest of it, you could wear gloves, not necessarily gloves like these. These might be a bit too much overkill. I'm just wearing them for the video because a lot of people recognize me by these gloves, but you might want to wear maybe like a latex glove that's very tight fitting to the skin. That will give you dexterity and also help keep a lot of the grime and the grease that is oftentimes inside these guns off your hands, because sometimes that can be difficult to get off. So to start, you're going to want to make sure that the gun is unloaded, no ammo in it at all. Alright. Of course, these methods only apply to AEGs because gas blowback guns are quite different in their construction. On the barrel, I have a little barrel cover for safety when I store it. Normally when I'm on the field, I wear an actual like barrel bag kind of thing that protects it much better, but for storage that's very low profile. So I'm going to keep that off just so it doesn't get in the way. You're also going to want to make sure that the battery is not inside of the gun while you do this. So sometimes on this crane, wow, jumped out there on me. So there's no battery in it right now, as you can see. Normally with this gun I run an 11.1 volt 20C LiPo battery, so it's quite a powerful battery. But when you're working on the gun, you want to make sure that there is no battery inside of it for safety reasons. But if you're only doing basic disassembly, you can put all the pieces for the stock back on and just keep it locked up. I like to keep it so that the stock is fully pulled in like this and locked to make the profile a bit smaller and easier to work with while I'm doing basic disassembly. Alright, now, the next step is to take the hammer pin that you're using and just knock out this first pin up here. Lots of people think you have to take this one out as well as this one back here, but this one actually holds the gearbox in place, and on pretty much every M4 you don't have to take it out for basic disassembly. It's just this front one. And on M4s, basic disassembly is very basic. It's very simple. So knock out that first pin like that. On some, you might need an actual hammer on it to, like, you might actually need to use a hammer. Put this here, have a block of wood on the bottom of it, and have a hole in the block of wood that that this pin can drop into when you hit it out, and then just set it there like that and take a hammer and pound on it. So, actually I have to do this again since I closed up. But if your gun is like mine where it's not in there particularly tightly, or you've done this several times and it's loosened up a bit, you don't need to do that. So this particular M4 has a bolt catch which functions. So I'm going to close this here again, and I already showed it to you, but you can see that when I pull back the charging handle, it locks back, which allows for easier adjustment of the hop-up, and it also adds a little bit of realism, but it also makes it so that there's a bit more complexity inside the main part of this gun. So when you take this apart, if you have a bolt catch, this does not apply to other people, but I ran into this issue where I would try and push it forward and it wouldn't go, and the first thing I noticed was that I had this open like this. I had the dust cover open, and I was running into this this pin sticking out right here. So make sure you lift that up. Wow, come on, the lights. Alright. So make sure that that's up, but don't lock it, because you're going to need to open it in a second when you pull back the charging handle. The next thing that you're going to want to take note of if you have a bolt release is that you have to push in the bolt release to get the upper receiver to slide forward. And then it should slide forward pretty smoothly until it gets to the point where the charging handle is stuck on the top of the gearbox. So just pull it back and lift up on it. As you can see, there's a little knob on the top of the gearbox right there that it latches onto. And then everything else should just slide off perfectly fine. At this point, you can close the dust cover. And that's it. You now have the lower receiver with gearbox and the buttstock. And then you have the upper receiver with the barrel assembly, as well as the inner barrel and hop-up unit. So here's the inner barrel assembly with hop-up unit. This particular barrel is a Mad Bull Black Python version 2, 6.03mm tight bore. This is a 455mm length inner barrel, which is generally used for AK style guns, AK-47s. But I have a barrel extension on my gun here that Killer gave to me, and it allows me to use a longer length barrel, and that helps me get increased accuracy at range, increased effective range basically. And also the tight bore barrel allows me to have increased consistency with shots. Not necessarily better accuracy, but more consistency across all my shots, which leads to more effective shooting. It's not actually better accuracy, but it is kind of like having better accuracy. It allows you to have better shot placement. So now you can also see that you will be able to access the charging handle assembly in there, and the basically what would be the slide, the bolt on this gun. Okay, to put it back together, it's pretty much just the exact same way that we took it apart. Slide it on like that. Make sure that it's seated in there well, and then connect the two pieces back together and slide on. Now for this, you don't have to worry about the functioning bolt release, but you do have to worry again about the charging handle here, because that nub is still there, so you have to pull it back and lift it over. Hold on, I'll have to get it a bit closer. Like that. Make sure that they connect and it's latched on. Close the dust cover, and it should just go right back together, just like that. Alright, so that concludes this basic disassembly video. I hope this helped you out if you're just trying to access the inner barrel or hop-up unit or any other parts in there This is just very basic disassembly for those of you who have not done it yet. It's very easy to do, and if you do it carefully, there isn't very much of a risk of harming anything. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys later.
Joseph's back here. Yeah. Pretty sure I hit Frankie. Whoa!